All right, well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to our Glory podcast, and good to be back with you, and appreciate all you guys watching and tuning in. As you know, we have been doing a series called All About Worship. This is actually the third episode, and I really encourage you to go back if you've not had a chance to watch episodes 1 and 2. Episode 1 was Adam and me, and then episode 2 was Jonathan Smothers and myself, and just some good talk and discussion about the just overall what worship is. We dove in. Our basis has been Romans chapter 12, verse 1, and we dove into just looking at the overall biblical definition of worship. Adam and I got into that discussion, and then episode 2, Jonathan Smothers and I really dove into kind of a lot of behind the scenes of what we do here at Glory, and our philosophy and our style and our culture here of worship at Glory. So really encourage you to go back and watch those 2 episodes. But today I have Michelle Howell. Michelle, welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Michelle, if you don't know, is our children's director here at Glory. And let's see, Michelle, is this going on a year?
Yes,
okay.
At the beginning of March, 2 years actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, quick.
I'm telling you, time is flying. It's unreal. So yeah, 2 years. That's so crazy.
Yeah, March 2nd.
Yeah. So 2 years of being the children's director, and we always talk about this. It is ever changing and ever evolving. It's just constant change. Which is a good thing.
Yes.
It really is. It really
Blessing.
is a good thing. You know, it's a blessing.
Yes.
And we also have a previous podcast with Michelle where we really get in and talk about, you know, the details of all aspects of our GloryKids. You know, so encourage you to go back and watch that, because we're not going to get into some of those details today of just how it's all set up and all that kind of stuff. You know.
Right.
So really encourage you to go back and watch that to kind of get some insight into what all is involved in our GloryKids, you know. So that's a different episode there. But today, kind of falling in line with this emphasis on worship, that's what we're here to talk about in regards to our GloryKids. And so we want to, you know, here at Glory, everything is connected. It's all related. It's not the kids here, the youth here, and the adults here. We've got building blocks and a process of what we're trying to do here. You know, just even starting off with our curriculum.
Right.
And, you know,
connected.
Yeah, it's connected.
So we have several families who have shared with us recently just how important it is and how much value there is in being able to go home and be able to follow up with discussions that they may have had with their care group classes with adults, that their children have also had with their leaders and their peers. And you know, see just how interesting it is to follow through with those conversations. And, of course, the children are always going to be more comfortable asking further questions. At home, it just leads to growth overall for, I think, all of them. So that's a big benefit to using the Gospel Project with our kids and families.
Yeah, Michelle mentioned Gospel Project, and that's our curriculum that we use through Lifeway, and it is used through all of our GloryKids classes, and you know, through our youth and all the way through our adults. And so that's what Michelle was talking about, that family time, those discussions, and so that's a wonderful thing. And Adam talks about family worship all the time, and it's really, really important for that to take place.
So within those classes and lessons, you know, there's so many different aspects of worship that is addressed through their care groups, and then I know through the adult care groups as well. And so they're able to really kind of, you know, tag team in their child's growth with the leaders here, the leaders in the home, and learn what that worship looks like. So
Well, let's start. Let's just kind of work our way through, and talk about that as far as the overall aspect of worship, and what goes on in our children's department, as far as teaching, singing, modeling. Kind of start with our infants, and just go ahead and go through as far as you want to go through, and then I'll if I've got something pop up, we'll just have a conversation about it.
Yeah. So with our infants up through our what we call sitters and walkers class, developmentally as they grow, we really think that it's important to make sure that those initial factors revolving around worship, the music and the nurturing and the love, the modeling that they're seeing, it starts so young. Like they just to have the comfort from the families and the child to feel comfortable with those who are with them is not only huge, but the fact that they're exposed to and seeing the beginnings of what worship looks like through the music that's played, through maybe through video that's incorporating visuals with the music, and then just the leaders themselves through prayer as they grow up to our toddlers. They're seeing and hearing what prayer sounds like, looks like, how we communicate with God and why we communicate with God, and what Jesus means to us, and so they start putting the pieces together. And by the time they move into our preschool classes and worship, they are learning how to themselves model those prayers, and they're given opportunities to do that. They're hearing from their leaders how that sounds, what that looks like in offering our prayers and our praise, through music in different ways. But they're also getting to do that themselves. They're practicing, they're growing, and they're seeing more and more. And so as they grow into the next phase, for like our kindergarten through second graders, I'm very thankful to be in a church that does value that the children are exposed and included and given those opportunities to see what corporate worship looks like, what small group worship looks like. Our kindergarten through second grade are a part of our corporate worship for the first third of our service, sometimes half, depending on what is going on in our services. But they see corporate prayer, they see corporate music, they see baby dedications, baptisms, and they start asking those questions and putting pieces together with what they've been learning, up until that point. And so there's so much around, so much value in being in it versus being told what it is. And so that's one of the biggest growing tools for them. And then, of course, as we get to our third through sixth grade, they're a full participant in corporate worship, and they have seen and grown over the years. And it's just a blessing to watch them sit with their families and friends and be just an active member of corporate worship.
It's important that for our kids, our prayer is that they want to be here, that they're excited to come, and it doesn't mean that we have, that we have a pep rally every time, but there's serious times when just sit down and listen and learn and all that kind of stuff. But even but with all of it, we want them to be excited to be here and be involved in all that. Let's go ahead.
You mentioned that. I think that's important too. Talking about, we don't want it to be a pep rally and a show and just about attraction or what it appears to
Right.
be. We do think it's very important that through our children's worship, and we have two different children's worship services going on during the 10:30 service. We've got our preschool group and then our kindergarten through second grade group. And what has become very helpful in our services is that we go through a curriculum that is theme-based, but it's not the purpose of that theme-based idea is not to look attractive and just want them to be there to have fun. It has really helped them to be able to connect things.
Yeah, it's a visual aid.
It is all over in different ways, and
Right.
we have leaders that are great with like incorporating different senses. They'll have items that they are seeing, feeling, touching, hearing, and everything that we do is related and connected to that lesson for the day, and they really like leave excited and I mean, like they've truly benefited from all of those connections and how they're tied together and what that worship looks like. And that's in both groups, our preschool and our kindergarten through second. And so I think that is important.
Yeah.
But, there's always that concern of does the parent really know that it's not just play,
Right.
But I do feel like our leaders have done a great job of making sure that that is conveyed, that we're going to have fun, but there is a purpose in everything that we do. So
it's you mentioned our volunteers and the folks in all of our areas. I mean, and we have a wonderful group of people that are faithful and dedicated and are here for the right reasons, and they are wanting to teach and do all the things, and so we're very blessed with a lot of volunteers and that are good.
Right. And we'll have I say this occasionally to people talking about volunteers. It's awesome to get messages through the week saying, hey, isn't this my week? Like, is it my time? I'm ready, there's an excitement about it, and the fact that we do have rotations. There are enough volunteers that we're able to not burn one certain group out. But we still have familiarity. The kids are they're comfortable and familiar with their leaders. So.
Well, couple of things. We've got few minutes here, so no need to rush on anything. But a couple of things that I want to hit. We always talk about that discipleship begins at birth, and there's certain ways that can take place. And so when we talk about our infants, our infant class, or the we call it the next group up is the sitters.
Yeah.
So. In talking about that, and when we think about worship, a lot of times in people's minds, that age group in that area is basically babysitting, and sometimes people. Now, I'm not saying our teachers do, because I don't believe that's the frame of mind they have. It is a serious deal to them of what they're going in there to do. So kind of touch on that with those young age groups and what worship is or what it means in there that those teachers do.
So yes, our young nursery classes, the volunteers in there and the leaders of their care groups, they take very serious the number one, the safety of that children and being taken care of, and the family is comfortable, but that's so that they can learn how to worship through music and through prayer and interaction and building relationships. Like all of those start at in that first infants class, and those relationships continue to build, and that's where they start seeing, different. They start learning what it looks like as they get a little older. Like they see people serving. And that's another aspect of worship that they want to get involved with. And, I say this often too, and I wouldn't consider this a problem. I would say that this is a blessing, but we have lots of our young children that want to be so involved with helping with the younger children, and so it's an awesome thing, and we have to be careful about how we do that, but we've really been working recently and meeting with some leaders within our church that are involved with the children to make sure that we do have some mentoring going on, and some leaders who are leading other leaders, growing leaders, and that we start at a young age. And
it's that leadership pipeline.
Yes, and we've got, of course, we make sure that policies are followed, and that is very important.
For sure.
And strategic with how we structure things, but it is amazing to see those kids as they start getting older into middle school and high school wanting to serve, and like begging, and can you put me on more with the rotation, and and again, we want to protect their individual growth and their worship time too, but it's a blessing just to have so many. But that starts at infant up through preschool. They're seeing, what that looks like to serve. And
I think you said a key word in all that with our infants and our sitters, and the younger classes and all. And we understand that like a lesson per se is we're not going to have a sit down and them but you said a key word in talking about interaction with them, and all of our folks are really good at that. And it's not just I'm going to sit over here and never pay attention, and they're going to be over there just playing with some toys. It's constant interaction with them, and that's part of it. That so
if there isn't that comfort and that trust, then they're not going to be receptive or interested in being involved with you.
And another part of this, I know we're talking about the children, and the worship involved around them and everything, but it is very, very important that when people come in and they leave their children back here, they can 100% feel good and at peace that they can go out there and they can worship and have a worship experience, knowing that their child is taken care of. And so it's all connected. It's all connected.
That is, I'm glad you said that, because I think we haven't mentioned much with our Glory Pals through this, but that's also a major thing. That's buddies that we have paired up with some of our children who may have some special needs or unique needs that they have, and for the families to be able to worship and not distracted or worried, that their child is also learning and included and taken care of, and supervised to the level that they need, or allowed different breaks or things like that. It's very important to us that we are available and open to what does the family need to be able to worship as well. Free from distraction and worry.
So. That's a great point. Well, let's finish up on this, talking about the GloryKids worship. And again, to get the details of how all of our kid stuff is broken down, go back and watch a previous episode with Michelle and me in that, and we describe everything. But GloryKids, when we say GloryKids, that is talking about everything that our kids do here. That's talking about care group classes, which would be old school called Sunday school. It's our nursery. It's our Wednesday night activities. It's everything. It falls under this umbrella of what we call GloryKids. So
that
we
would be up through 6th grade.
from infants to 6th grade. Yes, that'd be GloryKids. So we have what is called GloryKids worship. So our GloryKids worship is divided into 2 age groups.
Preschool would be the first age group, and that's our 3 through 5-year-olds who have not moved into kindergarten yet.
Right.
And then we have our kindergarten through 2nd grade group.
Okay.
And so
so both of those take place during our 10:30 service. So what I wanted you to do is to kind of describe what happens in there, because it's not just singing,
right?
Even though it is part of that, it is. I mean, it's basically a worship service.
Yes.
So just kind of describe what all happens in there.
So, both are very similar. The preschool group looks a little different because they do have a little bit more of the worship music and things involved that maybe our kindergarten through 2nd graders are getting exposed to in the worship center, and so we make sure to include that there. We have a team of volunteers that rotate through there that the children are very familiar with at this point, and so they'll take them through different aspects of worship. They'll take them through lesson time, story time, through very engaging, interactive teaching. They'll also have like an introductory activity or game that is related, that kind of leads them to what they're going to learn for the day. Each week we have what's called a big idea of the week, and so that's the main point, the takeaway that we want them to get out of this worship service. And so, for instance, this week is that Jesus has the power to heal. And, the fact that they can connect everything, they're going from activities to story time to snack, which is typically related to the lesson as well. For our preschool, it's more specific special items that they can connect and continue to teach and review what they've just heard through another activity, and then they will end with a craft that is also related. So it's constant review in different ways for those kids, so that they're just making these connections and they're seeing multiple times and hearing multiple times what we're learning. And then the kindergarten through 2nd grade is just a little bit more different, and developmentally they're able to do more, and there is another level of response towards the latter part of the worship service. For them, there's typically some activities or things that involve them responding to what they've learned and heard and talked about, and kind of how that might look as far as practicality and applying things. So again, there's music involved in throughout, but there's just so many different ways that they're hearing and seeing what's being taught. So. And different children learn differently. Every child learns differently, and so some may connect more with one
That's right.
method than another. So we try to expose them to a variety of strategies. Well, that's awesome. Well,
we're out of time here, so we'll go ahead and finish up. But I know from a worship pastor's perspective, it's awesome to look and see everything that goes on right from the beginning, from our infants all the way up through our youth and through our adults, and that it's all a building process and a learning process through the years, and hopefully growing in our walk and in our faith. And so
I'll say quickly, along with that, growing in our walk. The growth and the size in numbers has comes with challenges and adjusting schedules and structure and routine, and so that's something our parents have been very patient and flexible with. I really appreciate them because with growth we just have to keep things ever changing, and so it's been a blessing and it very encouraging to myself, and we're excited about new changes and things as we grow further. So.
Yeah, that's right. Well, Michelle, appreciate you and everything that you do here. You do a lot, and it does not go unnoticed. I know sometimes it may feel that way, but you do a great job, and so just encourage you to, keep on keeping on. And so we've got 2 more episodes in our All About Worship series. So our next episode will feature Philip Williams, who's our youth pastor, and so we're going to look at worship from that perspective and kind of how that goes from our kids department and goes up into our youth and the building blocks there. So we'll talk with him on our next episode. Again, thanks for being with us, and as always, we say that if you're watching and you do not have a church home, we would love to have you on Sunday mornings at 9 or 10:30 and on Wednesday nights at 6 o'clock. So thanks again for being with us.